This will be for the con assignment, graph quadratics in standard form. So standard form for a quadratic, you have ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, this is a parabola equation. All right, so the a is the coefficient with the x squared. All right, and if a is positive, the parabola opens up. If a is negative, the parabola opens down. Okay, so you might want to write that down. This is the equation, and this is what happens when a is positive or negative. So they give us these equations in this form, and they want us to graph the parabola. All right. Now the other thing that you need to know is the formula for the vertex. The vertex is the minimum or the maximum. Okay, so that's a definition of vertex, the minimum or maximum point. All right, so we didn't fit this graph to the equation yet, but if this was your parabola, this would be the minimum right here. All right, and the coordinates for the vertex are h, comma, k. All right, they did not use x and y because the vertex is a special point. All right, so they use h, comma, k. And there's a formula to find h, the x coordinate of the vertex. Okay, h is just negative b over 2a. All right, and when you find h, which is your x coordinate, you just plug it in place of x, and you'll have your y coordinate. All right, so this is our equation here. It's in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so you can clearly see that a equals 2 because that's the number with x squared. And you can clearly see that b is negative 8 because that's the number with x. All right, make sure you watch the plus minus signs. So this is negative, and b is negative 8. And we have a 2 in the denominator times a, which we said was 2. Okay, so 2 negatives in a row make it positive. You can assume this negative is in the numerator. That's the same thing. You can put it up here if you want. It's the same thing. All right, when it's out front or in the numerator, that's the same. But 2 negatives in a row make it positive 8. And of course, 2 times 2 is 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. All right, so that's your h. And you take the 2. And you plug in x equals 2. All right, so we're going to have 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 3. Okay, and you can do that whole thing in the calculator. It's going to be 2 times 4 minus 16 plus 3. That's a negative 5. Okay. So that's your value for for k, which is the y-coordinate of the vertex. Okay, so the vertex is going to be 2, negative 5. All right. Now we can see a equals 2. That's positive. That means it opens up. All right. So let's move our vertex to 2, negative 5. All right, we got the vertex, and now we just need one other point. All right, so remember, for the y-axis, this whole axis is x equals 0. Okay, so if you plug in x equals 0, you can get the y-intercept. So plug in x equals 0. That would be 2 times 0 minus 8 times 0 plus 3. I'll write it out just in case you don't see it. 2 times 0 squared minus 8 times 0 plus 3. Okay, that's going to be 0 minus 0 plus 3. That's a 3. So at x equals 0, y equals 3. So we're going to plot this point, and that'll be it. So go to x equals 0 and y equals 3, right there. All right, so we have the vertex 2, negative 5, and we have this point here 0, 3. All right, so we're graphing this equation. In front of the x squared, you can assume it's a 1. Okay. So the form is ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, a is just 1 and b is 4. Since a equals 1, that's positive. That means it opens up. All right. So let's see, do the vertex first. Remember, the vertex is h comma k. Formula for h is going to be negative b over 2a. Okay, write this formula down. So negative, and we can see b is negative 4. Okay, make sure you keep the plus minus signs. So in place of b, I'm going to write negative 4 divided by 2 times a, and we can see a is just 1. So 2 negatives in a row make it positive. 2 times 1 is 2, and that's just 2. All right, it just happened to be the same as before. Now, to find k, you have to plug in x equals 2. So we have 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 5. That's going to be 4 minus 8, which is negative 4, plus 5, which is 1. So the vertex is 2, 1. right? And we said it opens up. So let's put in the 2, 1 for the vertex. X equals 2, y equals 1. All right, that's right there. And then we just need to find one other point. Okay, remember for the y-axis, that is x equals 0. All right, so I'm going to plug in x equals 0. So that's 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 5. So 0, 0, and positive 5. So one other point is 0, 5. See, when we plug in x equals 0, we get the y coordinate when x equals 0. So the other point is 0, 5, and you just drag this point. You click and drag it to the 5. See, this is x equals 0, y equals 5. And we did the vertex already. All right, last one. We can see a equals 1/5. That means it opens up because 1/5 is positive. All right, so the vertex is h comma k. The formula for h, negative b over 2a. So in place of b, we're going to write negative 2. Don't forget the initial negative sign. So it's the negative of negative 2 divided by 2 times a. That's going to be 2 times 1/5. Okay, 2 negatives in a row is positive, and 2 times 1/5 is going to be 2 over 5. All right, remember when you divide fractions, you take the reciprocal of the bottom and you multiply. Okay, so the numerator is 2, and the denominator, 2 over 5. You flip it, it becomes 5 over 2. And now you can multiply these. 2 is the same as 2 over 1, but of course 2 over 2 just cancels, and that's just 5. Okay, so plug in x equals 5. That's going to be 1/5 times x squared. Minus 2 times 5. Minus 1. Okay, 5 squared is 25, and 25 divided by 5 is just 5. This is negative 10. This is negative 1. So we have a negative 6. So those are the coordinates for the vertex. So just go to your graph. For the vertex, go to 5. Okay, I'm just going to move this one over for now. Actually, I'll move it over here. I'm going to go to 5 and negative 6. So I have to go down here. Okay, x equals 5, y equals negative 6. Now we want to find the one for x equals 0. All right, so just plug in x equals 0. One fifth times 0 is going to be 0. Negative 2 times 0 is going to be 0. And we just have negative 1. So that's 0, comma, negative 1. So that's your other point that we're going to put in. So go to x equals 0 and y equals negative 1. That's right there. And we already did the vertex 5, negative 6. That's right there.